This is the story of smallpox, the first and so far only disease to be permanently eradicated from the world.
Balmis Expedition was a Spanish healthcare mission that lived from 1803 to 1806, led by Dr. Francisco Javier de Balmis. He vaccinates millions of inhabitants of Spain, America, and Asia against smallpox. Smallpox is believed to have originated in India or Egypt. The earliest evidence of this disease dates back to the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses V, who died in 1157 BC. The mummified remains of him show pock marks in his skin.
Smallpox is a highly contagious disease and it could be mortal. There is no cure or treatment for it. A vaccine can prevent smallpox, but you can experience secondary effects in your body. The first symptoms usually appear 10 to 14 days after the infection. Among them, fever, headache, skin rash, severe fatigue, back pain, possibility of vomiting. A few days later, flat red patches appear on the face, hands, and forearms, and later on the trunk. Lesions also occur on the mucous membranes of the nose and mouth, which quickly develop into open sores.
If you get infected by the virus, you have to get vaccinated against it, even if you have its full guideline. It is the only therapy viable nowadays for easing its symptoms.
Smallpox spread all around the world owing to the numerous expeditions during those ages. In Europe, it is estimated that smallpox killed 60 million people in the 18th century alone, and in the 20th century with about 300 million people around the world. Smallpox was a terrible disease. On average, 3 out of every 10 people who got it died. People who survived usually had scars, which were sometimes severe. Therefore, a solution to this misfortune was needed as soon as possible. The first vaccine in history was developed to protect against smallpox. Edward Jenner developed the first vaccine to prevent its infections, and thanks to its widespread use, it was completely eradicated in 1979.
Science behind the vaccine. In this image, we can perceive how does the vaccination process works. Firstly, this image started with Sarah Nelms, a milkmaid infected with cowpox. Secondly, Jane Phillips is inoculated with cowpox puce from Nelms. Then Phillips falls ill with a mild case of cowpox. Afterwards, scabs are collected from a smallpox patient. Later, Phillips is inoculated with the scabs of smallpox, and finally, Phillips is unaffected. Protection is complete.
It started in 1803 to 1806. This expedition was led by Dr. Francisco Javier de Balmis. The first one set sail from La Coruña and crossed the Atlantic Ocean, arriving in America. The Balmis expedition took the vaccine to the Caribbean route, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and Mexico, for 3 years. Then the expedition was divided. Balmis group with Isabel Zendal and 26 Mexican children left to the Philippines, Macau, and Canton, taking the vaccine to Asia. The other group led by the Balmis second, Dr. Jose Salvani, headed for Latin America, Venezuela, Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, and Chile.
Why kids and why 22? Balmis selected 22 orphan children for the journey. They departed from La Coruña. The idea was to inoculate youngsters with the smallpox vaccine doses. The children were necessary to preserve the vaccine virus. Every week, 2 of them were inoculated with the material obtained from the pustules of those vaccinated the week before. All of that was possible thanks to Isabel Zendal, the nurse who takes care of the children in the expedition. Only 1 child died during the expedition. In the end, the 21 children left were adopted.
Within a few days, Parker, a medical photographer who worked in the anatomy department at Birmingham Medical School, developed ugly lumps on her back, limbs, and face. When they called the doctor, he said that he had chickenpox. Her mother remembered caring for her daughter as a child for chickenpox and saw that the large pustules that turned into blisters on her daughter's body now were noticeably different. As she did not improve, she was eventually admitted to a special isolation hospital in Solihull, England. By this time, 9 days after, she began to feel ill. Parker was so weak that she could not stand without help. It was then that the dreaded word smallpox first appeared in her medical notes.